just takes a second to turn on is all.
Go ahead.
Welcome to Bon Jovi Discussions. Today I have my buddy. Now I know I won't have the accent to give it, but Tarcisio. Here,
Perfect.
you say it because you have that Portuguese accent to it.
Yeah, Tarcisio. Tarcisio.
Oh, see, you made it sound cooler. And you're from Lisbon. So how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. It's 10:20 now p.m., but I'm doing great. I'm relaxed today. Really looking forward for this conversation.
Me too. I know a few months ago you had messaged me wanting to come on and stuff, and I had you on the list, and I'm glad you're finally able to come on. So I always start off my podcast with my guests how you became a Bon Jovi fan.
And I love that question, Jerry. I was 11 years old when Sleeper When Wet came out. And, I was an innocent teenager. I knew life was short already by then. And I just wanted to ask myself how I'm going to have fun in this life. And I found joy and happiness in hard rock music, okay? And Bon Jovi were really kicking ass. They're really, they're playing all the time on the radio. You Give Love a Bad Name, Living on a Prayer, a great song. I still think it's a masterpiece, hard rock masterpiece, Living on a Prayer. Wanted Dead or Alive, another one, Never Say Goodbye. So I was listening to this when I was 11. It was a discovery for me. I was just really a kid. And when New Jersey came out, they smashed again with great hits, great songs. And I was 13 by then. And it was really awesome to listen to. I didn't listen only to Bon Jovi, but I really liked their attitude, not just the lyrics, but their attitude as a rock band, as professionals. I like them all, and especially live. I think they're some of the best we've ever seen.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, what's your favorite song? In general, not just from the Slippery album. Maybe it is from the Slippery album, but what's your absolute?
It is from the Slippery album. It's Blood on Blood. I mean, if it's Blood on Blood playing on my car, I'll put it on maximum volume, and it's rock.
Blood on Blood's actually on New Jersey. Not to correct you, I just have to do justice there.
Did I say it's not from New Jersey?
I thought you said it's from Slippery. I'm sorry, I misunderstood you. I thought you said Slippery.
Maybe,
my bad.
No, but it's
here's me.
Song number 5.
Here's me badly trying to correct you when you're actually correcting me.
No, it's okay. No, it's I know, of course, it's a New Jersey song, and it's the 5th, I think, it's the 5th track, and I really love it. It's still some of the best hard rock songs ever, and I like it a lot.
Yeah, I was so mad that it didn't get played at all. Actually, I'm trying to remember. Did it? I know it didn't get played on the 2022 tour. I don't know if it even got played on this house tour. I don't think it did.
I've seen Bon Jovi 3 times, and they never played Blood on Blood live.
Yeah.
To me.
They played it so much heavily more on, Lost Highway tour, the Circle tour. I'm trying to think more about Now tour. I think it got done a few times. But after that, it kind of just stopped. I don't know if maybe that's because of Richie's departure or what, but I miss seeing that song. And it's funny because if you would have asked me back in the Circle Tour days, I would have said I'm so sick of this song. It's amazing. Anyway, so let's get into our topic today. This is actually something I've been wanting to talk about for quite some time now. We are going to talk about the New Jersey, the 2014 New Jersey editions, which there was the single disc that was remastered, the deluxe edition, which had the disc of the original remaster, and then the second disc, which is the Son of Beaches demos, and then the ultimate die-hard fan favorite, the New Jersey Super Deluxe Edition that has the remastered album, the Sons of Beaches demos, and the DVD of the New Jersey videos, and Access All Areas. And if that wasn't enough, an awesome booklet filled with photos of the band, lyrics.
The photos are great.
Literature. I'm just looking at these pictures now. There's just a few that were rare and have never been released, which I should have been more prepared on.
My favorite photo from that book is the one that has a Советская Союза T-shirt. I don't know the page. It's it's an even page, and this Soviet Union T-shirt, because I know I like that period a lot. They went to Moscow, and I think it was, some of the best times of Bon Jovi as a band was that tour, and of course that show. Yeah, that's a nice one. That's a cool one. Yeah,
that's one of my favorite band photos from that era. But anyway, so like I remember, like, because this was technically 30 years since the debut release, and so they announced this, I think, in summer of 2014, that they were releasing the special edition box set. And we didn't know what it was, and I think like 2 weeks later, the news came out that it was going to be in New Jersey, and I was just so excited. I was over the moon about it, and I couldn't wait to get my hands on it, especially this. And even with the DVD, it is remastered. The videos are remastered, so it's higher quality, as well as Access All Eras. Those videos were released on VHS back in the 80s, but it was, if you compare, it's very grainy compared to the re-release. So the only thing is that I got so spoiled from loving this so much, that I wish that they would have done this for the other albums, at least for Slippery, at least for Crush. Definitely. Even these days. So I mean,
these days surely deserves a better box, more insights about it, because probably is their New Jersey is my favorite album because of the time I was listening to this music and so on. But I think Keep the Faith and These Days really spend those years are the span of best of Bon Jovi, and These Days they really hit very good songs. They really performed very good songs with These Days album. I really like it.
Yeah, absolutely. And my only downfall on this box set was I was hoping that there'd be more demos of the songs that were released on the original album. And I know that there's Stick to Your Guns, Wild as the Wind, that have demos on the second disc, but like back in 1988, you probably already know this, but the original recording of Born to Be My Baby was done acoustically, and that's how John wanted to put it on the album. And Bruce Fairbairn said, no, this should be an electric instrumentation of the song. And so it got changed to the electric version. So on this, I really wish they would have put the original acoustic demo of Born to Be My Baby on this box set.
And who am I to criticize Bruce Fairbairn? But I question if that was the best decision.
And actually, I have to correct myself. They did. It is on this. It's on the first disc.
But it's on the first disc, but it's not. It's like as an extra, right? As an extra song. They didn't replace the song.
Yeah, I don't think it's the original. So I'm wrong here, but I'm also right. I don't think it's the original demo, because I've heard the original demo of this song, and it's a little different than what they put on this box set. So it's definitely different. I can almost guarantee that this is not the original demo of Born to Be My Baby. It might have been a second or third take to it, but
it still is a good one. It still is a good one.
Because I think in the original demo, and I could be wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure Richie's vocals on the first verse of Born to Be My Baby were more heavy. And it almost overpowered John's in a way. Okay. Especially in the, our love, those parts. So, but regardless, I'm still glad that we got an acoustic version of the song of Born to Be My Baby. So, before we get into,
I really love also the 13th track, "The Boys Are Back in Town." I know it's just a cover, but and I know they didn't change much from the original version. Yeah. It's pretty much the same plain thing, but the song fits them so well, don't you think?
It did, and it's so great that they added that on there, because they did that live quite a bit on the New Jersey tour. I mean, that was like John's favorite covers to do on that tour, and so I think it was justice, rightfully done, to be put on this box set. That cover, it's not one of my favorite covers, but I also don't mind it.
I know I've seen this episode, but I like this one a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. And then another one was Love is War, which that actually almost, I think it was actually in the first batch of songs that was going to be put on the album. So the first write-in and recording session for demos, Love is War was done. And I think John said in an interview somewhere that he was trying to mimic, in a way, You Give Love a Bad Name. And it just wasn't working. I think Love is War also almost has that same chord progression. And but anyway, it got scrapped for that reason, I believe.
But this is something I really admire in the band, is they're conscious about it. They're conscious if they are evolving, if this is the next step they want to make. So, and you can see this in every album, you know, they really challenge themselves and try to evolve.
And that's perfectly, you know, that's what's so great about this New Jersey album. And I would say that New Jersey is definitely the band's best 80s album. Absolutely the best. With Slippery, you know, with debut 7800, they were trying to prove themselves. And Slippery was the last straw. It was either make it or break it. And so, and obviously they became huge and successful with Slippery. But with New Jersey, they had so much more to prove. They had to prove that they weren't just a one-hit wonder, or, you know, that they could still do more hits and make great music and still staying the biggest band of the 80s. And so I think they had so much more to prove. And I could be wrong. I think they took, after the Slippery tour, I think they only took 3 weeks of a break before for New Jersey.
That's totally amazing. That's totally amazing.
And so, but you know, but musically, I and lyrically even, I think it's a more better album than Slippery. Yeah, but both albums, don't get me wrong, but New Jersey just has that. What's that word I'm looking for? That pure rock and roll, and you know, America's Greatest Band at it again kind of vibe. You know.
Yes. Yeah, I totally agree. But I see this evolution in terms of lyrics, quality of the lyrics, also to Keep the Faith. I think the Keep the Faith album has, you know, a different level of songwriting and these days as well.
Absolutely. You know, with Keep the Faith in these days, you know, before we stray away, Keep the Faith in these days is definitely more mature as far as songwriting goes. And you know, you have 80s Bon Jovi that was all about fun and rock and roll and sex and all that stuff. 90s was more mature for the band, you know, socially conscious songs like Keep the Faith in these days, you know, mature songs.
A little bit of soul, for instance,
Yeah, you know, they weren't trying to sound like a 80s rock band anymore. I mean, in a way they were, but in a way they weren't. You know, they were trying to evolve as a band.
Yeah.
But yeah, so since we're talking about disc 1 here, I really do like how it's remastered. So if you compare the original 1988 release, the 1992 release, and then I think it was 1999 they did the official remasters.
Yeah, yes, I don't recall.
Yeah, and then the 2014 remaster, even the 1999 remaster and the 2014 remaster, so sonically different. You can hear more bass, I think, in the 2014 remaster. The vocals are more enhanced and more separated, but together with the music, if that makes sense. Like you can concentrate more on the vocals there. It's not overpowered so much by the guitar. And certain songs like Lay Your Hands on Me, you know, if you listen to the original recording of Lay Your Hands on Me, I always thought the guitar kind of overpowers John's voice in a way. But in the remasters, it's not as heavy. You know, I probably sound crazy here. That's how I.
No, I definitely feel the difference, because when I started listening to New Jersey, I had a cassette tape. This was what I had. I bought it in the first day the record was released. I went to the record store and I said, the first day I'm going to buy a New Jersey album, cassette. And I listened a couple of times, you know, in a row. And so, of course, the sound was totally different. And a little audio tape recorder of Sharp brand. It's old stuff. And it's already broken, of course. So, yeah, those are good memories. And, of course, the quality of the sound was not as good as we have today, of course.
Yeah.
But it was fun anyway.
Yeah, but so like the 2014 remaster is so good. And even I think the 2010 special editions were remastered too. And I don't know how much different the sound quality is to those. I think it's relatively the same. Let's talk about the second disc. Oh, you know what? I skipped artwork. I feel like I gotta do the art. So inside, so the original remastered CD is pretty much the same as the original release, but the deluxe edition.
Yeah.
When you open it up,
Yeah.
it has the band there.
Nice finishing.
Yeah, you know, and I love this stuff because that's how it looks like in John's vaults. You know, stuff like that. You know, the discs are really cool looking.
Yeah, the experience of opening it up and reading it, it's cool. I agree with you.
Yeah, and you know, just like different kind of literature. You know, from let's see here. What's on?
Yeah,
I think it's
they made a good work there.
What's that?
They made a good piece of work there, and you know, trying to enhance the experience of opening up the box. Yeah.
But you know, I know we already talked about the book and the Super Deluxe, but you know, so when you open this up, you get this.
Yeah.
And this is like a really cool. I gotta be really careful with my discs here.
But be careful.
Yeah. But I gotta show for people who don't have this yet. If you are a diehard Bon Jovi fan, stop watching this and go buy this. See,
yeah,
I love that. See, this was one of the unreleased band photos. I think this was the first photo session they had for this album, I believe. And this photo was never released until then. At least I've never seen it until 2014. But
I didn't know it was the first session they had. I didn't know.
I think there was 3 photo sessions from New Jersey. The first one was because originally the New Jersey coat was supposed to be. There was an idea that that was going to be the album cover, with John looking over his shoulder and it's saying Bon Jovi New Jersey. But then it obviously became, you know, that cover. Yeah. And then I think there's 2 more New Jersey photo sessions after that. But could be. What's that?
This I didn't know. I didn't know how many photo sessions they had. I'm sure they have a few.
It could have been 2. It could have been 4, but I know there's more than 1 for the album. But let's talk about the second disc. So the second disc is called Sons of Beaches Demos, which was one of the working titles for New Jersey back then. It was to kind of mimic the Slippery When Wet kind of thing, you know, the whole beach vibe and, you know, where they're from and all that. But what's so great about the Sons of Beaches demos is that any diehard fan is going to love this. It's full of outtakes and demos. And let me ask you, what is your absolute favorite outtake from New Jersey?
I have 2 different. I find "Let's Make It Baby" a super fun song because it shows how much fun they were having by that time.
Yeah.
So I would pinpoint this one. I know it's probably not the best song, okay, but I like it because it shows how much, you know, they were enjoying doing rock and roll and the use of talkbox again, because it's one of the you know, Rich's favorite things to do and very distinctive from him. Yeah. There's
3 Bon Jovi songs I don't like. "Let's Make It Baby" is one of them.
Yeah. But I understand. I'm telling you, I don't think it's the great song, but it shows they were having a lot of fun. Okay.
Yeah. You know what's funny though? I say that I don't like "Let's Make It Baby," but I will say I do agree that it is actually a good song, especially vocally, especially like when John's screaming "Let's Make It Baby." You know, it's definitely a great song. I can't get into it. You know,
it's different from the other songs. Okay?
Yeah.
But I think Backdoor to Heaven could be in the original release. It's a good song, you know. Now and Forever, it's a good song, could be in the original release. I think Let's Make It Baby could not be in the original release, probably because it did not raise to the standard. But it's a fun song. I just find it fun. When I listen to it, I laugh. It's fun.
Originally, New Jersey was supposed to be a double album, too.
True. That's true.
And so I wonder, because there's so many more outtakes than what they put on this from the album.
True.
But I wonder, was this John's plan to as a second disc originally, to put these songs on that disc? You know, who
This
knows?
this we don't know, but we know from interviews that they released a single because the record company said so and then recommended this. And question to you: do you think they would have sold less? They would have sold less if it was a double album?
Well, the thing is so the record company didn't want to sell a double album because it would have been at a higher price, and they don't think the album would have sold as well. Well, back then it's different than now, but like nowadays, bands can get away with that. Bands get away with doing deluxe editions, special editions with extra stuff, or just selling the release album. But anyway, back then, I think New Jersey could have sold pretty well because look at the massive success Slippery When Wet had. Now, if you were to ask me about Slippery When Wet being a double album, no way, that wouldn't have
No,
sold as
no
much.
way, no way.
But with New
But I think
Jersey,
New Jersey could have been a double album. I really think it could have been a double album. Yeah,
1988, Bon Jovi was the biggest band in the world, no doubt about it.
no doubt.
There would have been fans. If I was alive, I would have done it. There would have been a lot of fans that would have bought that double album. Now, let me ask you, because you were a fan back then, when you became a fan of Slippery When Wet and New Jersey came out in '88, would you have then bought that double album?
Triple. I would have bought it if it was triple.
That's the way.
No
And
doubt.
you know what else is and you know what else is crazy about the record company? There were talks about a live album coming from the New Jersey tour. And the record company said no to that. So I think in 1990 it was proposed that they were going to do a live album, and then it just
This is the kind of decisions that I don't understand because it was by far the most successful tour on earth, and it was a world tour. It's not like going to North America and Europe. It was a real world tour back in the
yeah,
80s. Okay.
exactly. And I think it would have. I don't know how many bands were doing that. Didn't Guns N' Roses have a live album out? I
I'm not
think that
sure.
was that the
I'm not
usual.
sure.
I'm not a Guns N' Roses guy, so I don't know too much. But I think that Use Your Illusion. I think that was a live album, wasn't it?
Yeah, and they also released a double album with a lot of
Yeah.
sales. I think Bon Jovi could have done it, no problem at all.
Exactly. Yeah.
And they had some good songs. They had some good songs, as you can see in these demos.
Yeah, exactly. And, my favorite outtakes from this album in general are Now and Forever and Does Anybody Fall in Love Anymore?
All
Absolute
right.
gems. And you know what else is there? So the only song that's ever made to a Bon Jovi album that was not written by John was She Don't Know Me, which was on the debut album, which was written by, I think, Mark Absick.
Yeah.
But so on the second disc, there's a song called House of Fire, which was not written by John at all. It was written by Alice Cooper, Desmond Child, and one of my absolute favorite musicians, Joan Jett. So
Yeah.
they gave the band the song, and I don't know if it was the idea that I've heard rumors that they were never actually going to put this song out, but they just did a demo of it for Alice Cooper which obviously Alice Cooper did record and release. But I've heard
Yeah, there
rumors.
are stories about this. Yeah.
Yeah, I just heard that the band Bon Jovi just did a demo of it to give to Alice Cooper on how to musically do it. That's just a rumor though. But I've always wondered so I absolutely do love, and I love Alice Cooper. I love his version of it, but Bon Jovi's version is so much better. Especially like the way that John sings that pre-chorus, take me high. I can't do it obviously, but like just the way that he sings it right before it gets into the chorus, and then he just lets it out. Man, it's fucking incredible. So and I want to say one other thing about New Jersey too is I think vocally with the New Jersey album, John was just superior. Like his
Yeah.
vocals on this album are just phenomenal. Even outtakes show you that.
Definitely, I totally agree with you. But about this record, second record, I'd like to know your opinion about "Homebound Train."
Oh, that was.
How do you like this twist? How do you like this twist?
See, I like Homebound Train, but it's a song I rarely listen to. Now, if it comes on once in a while, I'll listen to it, but I'm not crazy about it. But
this demo is different. The demo they put is different. The cooking is different, And you know what? I prefer the intro of the demo.
Oh yeah, now that I'm thinking of it, yeah, I'm with you on that. Yeah,
I think John vocals work very well, you know, warming up the song and then kicking with the guitar afterwards. It's great.
You know, there's quite a few songs that I always say the demo is much better than the original. You know, Work for the Working Man from the Circle. The demo of
All
that
right.
is so much better than
Yeah,
the
yeah.
actual album version. But another one that, you know, we talk about demos here, Diamond Ring. So a lot of people don't realize that Diamond Ring was actually written and recorded back in '88, and it was an outtake from New Jersey, obviously. But I think the story goes Tico didn't like it or something, and then so that changed John's mind, something along the lines of that. But whatever the reason was, it became an outtake, and it got re-released on These Days as an acoustic version. Let me ask you, which version do you prefer more, the New Jersey version or These Days version?
I'm so used to These Days version that I think I would have to listen a lot of times to this outtake to. I think I prefer the These Days version. I like These Days album a lot
Yeah.
too.
See, I picked the New Jersey, not to discredit the These Days version of Diamond Ring. It's good, but I also don't think there's not much of an excitement level for me other than John and Richie's vocal combination there. Other than that,
Yeah.
it's one of those songs for me that I think it needs picked up a little bit. And the demo of that proves how much better it could have been. You know, 'cause I love the electric guitar, the drums. It's more of a band effort, and I think that translates better for the song. Yeah,
Well, I mean, I understand your point. I totally understand your point. Probably just because I was so used to used to listen to these days version that probably I still prefer it.
yeah.
But yeah, I think it's also a good version of it, definitely.
I
I wonder why I wonder why Tick didn't like the song. That this is a question.
I think that it could have been for another song. I'm thinking that, but I'm pretty sure it was for Diamond because there's one of the band members didn't like it, and it became an outtake
Okay.
because of that reason. But I don't want to point my finger at you know, obviously only the band really knows, but I've heard that as a rumor.
Talking about liking or disliking songs, two of these songs were supposed not to be in the original version, which was "Stick to Your Guns" and "Wild Is the Wind."
Yeah, but
Yeah.
back to the Diamond Ring thing real quick though. There's an
Okay.
interview. I'm gonna look for it. There's an interview I think on These Days tour where John talks about, and I think they were in Africa or they were somewhere on tour, and John was asked about Diamond Ring, and he said that there was actually a demo for it from New Jersey. And then he goes,
Okay.
I'll look for that here because I don't want to say the wrong thing here, but I'm pretty sure it was because one of the band members didn't like it, and it changed John's perception of the song, and he took it off. But
yeah. For some reason, they didn't use it in New Jersey. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so you were saying about "Stick to Your Guns" and "Wild Is the Wind"?
Yeah, those two songs were supposed not to be in the original, and apparently, according to an interview, I have this. I didn't. I have this book. I don't know if you have this one.
Oh, I got that. All right. Yeah.
The author already died. Rest in peace. They say that "Stick to Your Guns" and "Wild Is the Wind" were supposed not to be in the original album, but that they showed some kids that were around the studio the songs, and they said, "Look, these songs are great. You should keep them in the album," and they kept it. And I think there are still some of my favorite songs are these two. Yeah.
"Stick to Your Guns" is one of my top 5 favorite songs from the band. You know, "Stick to Your Guns" helped me so much in high school, and it helped me so much.
Still helps me, and I'm 48. It still helps me, and I'm 48.
Yeah, you know, it just has that confidence like song. You know, hey, stick to who you are and be proud of it, and blah blah blah. But I also love the that it's track 8, Ride Cowboy Ride. I think that's such a great introduction to "Stick to Your Guns," which comes next. You know,
True.
and it's like one of the good points too of like listening to an album from start to finish. You know, the flow of it. You know, if you don't listen to "Ride Cowboy Ride" before "Stick to Your Guns," I don't think you're getting the full aspect of the song. You know, but I'm just looking at the list of this
I cannot say New Jersey is like a concept album. I wouldn't say that, but it makes sense to listen from beginning to end. It makes full sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Lay Your Hands on Me. It has to be the first song because that's the way they wanted to open up the shows and the concerts. And Bon Jovi, when they create music, they think of live performances.
Yeah.
So when you have to start with Lay Your Hands on Me because it's where everything starts there. Yeah.
And you said it perfectly too, because that's something that we should talk about, how New Jersey was never really a concept album like Keep the Faith was, or These Days. I think it goes back to me saying earlier, New Jersey was just an album of a band, a great rock and roll band that just loved playing together and making music, And so there's so many different areas of songs. You have your feel good rock songs, you have your deep love songs, like I'll Be There For You, which is one of the most absolutely classic Bon Jovi ballads of all time. And to end the album too, the Love for Sale. I love that. Just like another fun song to end the album,
Definitely. Super fun. And again, it shows how much joy they had in making rock and roll. I really love listening to that one. This raw sound that they found for the music. I still love it.
And I was gonna say something else. So we got the demos for Why Does the Wind Stick to Your Guns, which obviously made the album in a finished track. One song that I've gotten into recently in the last month is Growing Up the Hard Way. That was one of those songs that I usually just skip. Not that I didn't mind it, but in the last month, I've really gotten into that, Growing Up the Hard Way.
Yeah, for me, it doesn't ring any special bell. It's a nice song, but it doesn't ring any special bell. Yeah. But I'll give it a second try. I'll give it a second try if you give a second try to Homebound Train demo.
Don't get me wrong, I love Homebound. Homebound Train's a decent song. It's just not one of those songs I really listen to very often.
I'm just joking.
It's funny now because I'll probably put it on tonight, and I'll probably be in the mood for it for the next several days.
I know the feeling.
Yeah, it's like the polls that I don't know if you watch or see them on Twitter, but I do polls every day of which song do you prefer more, blah blah blah. And I tell you, it'll put like I just did a poll for all the bounce music videos, and it put me in such a bounce mood in the last week. So it's funny because now I'll probably be in a Homebound Train mood for the next 2 days. Anyway,
the intro of the demo, I think it was really awesome. I still don't understand why they didn't take it to the original version.
Yeah.
But okay, it's been a long time.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. In the demo version, is there the harmonica?
Yes.
It's in the demo version?
Yes, and it works perfectly in the music, in the song.
Yeah.
It gives an atmosphere. It's really special.
I think
they should have kept that formula to the original version, but I don't know. For some reason they didn't.
I gotta check that out. Okay. So now the last disc is Access All Areas, which was the band's probably the best home video that they've ever done. Access All Areas, which followed them on a portion of the New Jersey. Yeah. And just on a side note from Access All Areas, I'd love for the band to do that again. They kind of did that for when We Were Beautiful in a way. But I love, like I always say, like even on their final tour, when that day comes, I'd love for another in-depth documentary like that on their final tour, where they film from beginning to end. And obviously you can't put however many shows into one, but just as time, bits and pieces of this show, bits and pieces of, just like Access All Areas. I'm getting tongue-tied here. I think it would be cool. But so
I bought the VHS tape when it came out, the documentary. Yeah. It was 1989, 1990. I don't remember the year. It was 1990, I think, when it came out. And I bought the VHS tape from the record store. I remember this very well. And I watched it. And of course, I like Bon Jovi songs a lot, especially from New Jersey album. But I started to admire Bon Jovi in a different way after watching Access All Areas. Yeah. Because I learned a lot about work ethics with those guys, because they didn't reach success just because they were lucky. There was no luck behind this. They wanted to reach success. They wanted to sell a lot. This is true, but they worked a lot to get there. Okay, and it was not a given. They had to really reach success, and they hold on tight to the success they achieved, and they kept on working hard. As you said, they only had a few weeks between the tour and recording the new demos for the New Jersey album. I found this amazing, you know.
Yeah. And you're right. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. The whole work ethic concept, they really proved how different they were than the other bands. Because if you look back at that time, a lot of bands, and I was just watching a Kiss one the other day. A lot of these bands back then were doing the cheesiest home videos. It was all fake and just stupid. Bon Jovi wasn't doing that. They, if you look at all the Slippery videos and the New Jersey videos, they did small interviews in between, just a band having fun, and then the music videos. And then Access All Areas really proved that they weren't just some 20-something-year-old punks making a lot of money. It actually showed that these 5 guys and the team surrounding them had a vision. They had the love for rock and roll, the passion for music, and were also driven with a good work ethic, and it showed them proving themselves to the fans and to the media, the critics. And I think that translated well to a lot of people,
Until this day, it inspires me.
Yeah.
And this documentary was really helpful. I was so young at that time. And the way they respect fans, because if you remember, Access All Areas starts with a gig in the beginning. There's a gig in Ireland where all fans came out very happy with the show, and in the backstage they were saying, "No, it was awful. It could have been much better." And I immediately get struck with their professionalism, with their dedication, with their respect for the fans. They wanted to give all they could and more and extra. It was awesome to witness that.
Exactly. And I was actually just about to mention that part too. And so it was kind of cool, just to think how fans think highly of a show, but then they'll go back and say that was, garbage and, stuff like that. But yeah, that whole Access All Areas, man, that was just one of the coolest documentaries that I've, not only from Bon Jovi, but just in general, that has ever been released in music history. A lot of bands weren't doing that back then. A lot of bands were kind of closed off with behind the scenes stuff, and I'm all about behind the scenes and kind of different, seeing a different aspect of the band. Now,
do you have any particular part of this documentary that you really like?
What the intro that you said, when the fans were saying how the shows were amazing, and John and the band's in the background, talking about how the show was terrible and blah blah blah. That was my favorite part.
Okay, great.
What's yours?
I like that one a lot, as I mentioned, and I like the part of Mexico, the way they dealt with the stadium being closed and so on, and performing 2 shows in the same day. Come on, who does this nowadays? Nobody does this. Nobody would care. Only them, I think.
And that's the thing too, is in a way you could tell that they were trying to hide it, but you could tell how exhausted they were towards the end of that home video. Especially Mexico, like you can just see that they're all, it's no secret what happens after that. They all go on 5 different planes their separate ways and ready for their break. It's funny too, because promoters and stuff, they wanted them to do so many more shows. I forget the number, but they want to do like another, like say 50 or 60 shows. That could be wrong in that number, but at that time, I forget how many tour dates the band did on that tour, but it was a lot. And
200? Yeah.
I was gonna say 200. It's definitely under 300, but it was definitely the majority of. I think the tour started end of '88, all through '89, and then first part of '90, and then the band took a break. But yeah, Access All Areas is great, and then the other part of the DVD disc is New Jersey videos. So
yes, the videos,
which is fun because they show. I'm trying to remember the Bad Medicine, the first version. Then they have the fan video at the end. And
the other version,
And then all the music videos that they had in from New Jersey. And like I said, the quality of these videos were just so much higher definition than what we got back in '88. And we talk about how bands are doing things differently. I also want to note that Born to Be My Baby music video was so cool. Other bands weren't doing stuff like that, where they were showing the band in the studio. And that different intro too, that I thought was really cool. You kind of get different. Like one part is just John singing by himself. Then it's Richie on guitar all by himself. Then you see the whole band, singing together. All right, and stuff. It was kind of cool to see the band in that kind of atmosphere because a lot of bands at the time, Bon Jovi included, were doing a lot of live videos because that's the only time that they had. They didn't have time to do music videos. And so I think in a way, Born to Be My Baby was kind of important for them to kind of stand out a little bit and say, okay, let's do this. Bands aren't doing this. So how about we do a video from the studio and mix it a little differently so it kind of gives that studio-like demo life to it, if that makes sense.
A different feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
So I think.
Anyways,
go ahead.
Go on.
No, you go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that I'm not a huge video clip kind of guy, like watching this, but I think Bad Medicine also states a lot of what they are as a band. The connection with the fans, the respect they have for the fans, the way the importance that the perspective of the fans have for them, the opinion of the fans. I really like that exploration in the Bad Medicine video clip concept.
Yeah, you're right. I think Bad Medicine, the fan video was was another point that I'm trying to make about how they were trying to stand out. Other bands weren't doing that. I sound like a broken record. Other bands weren't giving camcorders to fans to film for their video. So it's kind of cool to see the band from a fan's perspective.
Definitely, it was so original by that time.
What's your favorite music video on the album?
Because of that, Bad Medicine.
Okay? Bad Medicine? Okay.
Bad Medicine. It's not my favorite song. It's not one of my favorites. But remember, I was there in the 80s, and watching that was a totally different video clip. Yeah. Just totally different from what we had seen before. So it still struck me to this day how they challenged the concepts that were MTV standards by then. So they challenged it. So in terms of innovation, I really think Bad Medicine is remarkable.
It is. And I think it was truly a great first single for the band too, because in the music video, the original, it starts out with the dun 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 dun, dun, and then someone's spray painting their back,
True.
And so I thought that was kind of cool, and that kind of adds to the excitement of the band coming back. But yeah, overall, this box set is truly a gem. And as I said earlier, I really hope and wish that they will do this for other albums, at least for Slippery and Crush,
Oh, definitely.
So is there anything else?
Having this one for Slippery after all these years would be awesome. Be awesome.
As a diehard fan, and I know you agree with me this, every single album, I'll buy it,
Yeah, sure.
And I don't think these were too crazy expensive. I think the Super Deluxe was only like $50. If I know $50 would be a lot of $50 is a lot of money, I guess. But for what you get out of this, it was 100% worth it. And I'm sure that there's Bon Jovi fans that are watching this podcast right now thinking, where can I buy this? Well, I'm here to tell you. You can find it easily on eBay, Discogs, and Amazon. Sometimes they're outrageously priced. Don't spend over $50 on it because you'll find, if you keep looking, you'll find it on eBay for under $50 here and there. But was there anything that you wanted to say about this box set before we end the podcast?
No, I just wanted to mention that I've met a lot of people who like Bon Jovi. I met a lot of people who don't like Bon Jovi. I'm fine with that. Totally fine with that. But every time I show Access All Areas to a person, they start respecting Bon Jovi much more. So I think it's really a really good piece of work. And if you haven't watched it yet, you must do it because it really it really is a documentary about Bon Jovi and about doing hard rock, doing concerts in the 80s. So it's a good piece of it showcases how music was made and performed in the 80s.
And I think it's so overlooked too. Even I think it's just so overlooked because maybe because of how old it is, but I'm trying to figure out the best way to. It's just it's overlooked, and like I said, I love another documentary like that to be made again, probably for the final tour. That'd be a great way to do it again, you know. But
It would be interesting to see how do they cope with Phil X instead of Richie. How is the atmosphere, the differences? But it had to have this raw, really documentary kind of feeling, you know. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And you know, with this documentary that's coming out from the band, mate, that we're supposed to be getting this year, maybe it is all
Perhaps.
access all years. I think it's more document or more interview based, but still, I'll take it. You know, and who knows what else is in the works for that? You know,
Let's cross the fingers.
we'll see. Yeah. Anyway, buddy, thank you so much for coming on. I know it's late for you. I really appreciate that you took the time to come on and talk. I've been wanting to talk about this box set forever, and I didn't know who the right person was. And I was like, you know what? You're the perfect person for it. So I'm glad we could talk about it.
I was probably one of the oldest guests you had in your show, so I think it was a good idea to talk about this box.
I've had people in their 50s, 60s. I haven't had anybody in their 80s. I know that.
Okay, I'm almost 50. Okay. So it was a privilege for me, Jerry. I'm a big fan. I think I really like your work. I really like your passion and dedication. So it was a privilege for me to share this program with you, with this conversation.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that very much. So, all right, but I'm gonna end the recording. Stay on. Don't hang up. All right.
All right.
All right. Thanks, buddy. See ya.